The Christmas Carol of Charlie and Chloe. One chilly December evening, Charlie and Chloe found a curious little book under the Christmas tree. It wasn't an ordinary book. It sparkled with tiny stars and hummed softly when they touched it. As they opened it, they heard a gentle melody, the very first notes of a magical Christmas carol. Suddenly, the snowflakes outside began to twirl and dance, and the Christmas lights on the house flickered to life with bright, joyful colors. Excited, they sang the carol together, and to their surprise, the snowmen in the yard began to wiggle their carrot noses and sing along. The candy canes on the porch started to twirl like ballerinas, and the stars on the tree shimmered brighter than ever. Charlie and Chloe laughed as the magic filled the air, making their whole world twinkle with holiday cheer. As the carol reached its happiest part, a gentle snowflake floated down and landed softly on Chloe's nose. It sparkled and grew until it became a tiny, shimmering fairy. She smiled and said, "Thank you for singing the Christmas carol. Because of you, the magic of the season will shine bright all night." Then, with a sprinkle of fairy dust, the whole neighborhood glowed warmly, wrapped in a cozy blanket of holiday magic. Charlie and Chloe hugged each other with big smiles, feeling the true spirit of Christmas glowing inside their hearts. They knew this was a Christmas they would always remember, a carol that brought their world to life with laughter, music, and magic. And from that night on, whenever they sang the special carol, the magic would return, filling every Christmas with wonder and joy. The Orange Odyssey of Olivia and Owen. Once upon a time, in a sunny little town, lived two best friends named Olivia and Owen. One bright morning, they discovered a mysterious path in their backyard leading to a magical orange grove. With excitement bubbling inside them, they decided to follow the path and see what adventures awaited them. As they entered the grove, the air was sweet with the scent of oranges, and the trees sparkled in the sunlight. Suddenly, a cheerful squirrel popped out from behind a tree. "Welcome to the Orange Grove," he squeaked. "I'm Sammy. Do you want to have some fun?" Olivia and Owen nodded eagerly, their eyes wide with wonder. Sammy led them to a game of orange toss. They took turns tossing oranges into a basket while the wise old owl, perched high above, hooted in encouragement. "Great job," the owl called out. Olivia and Owen giggled and cheered as they played, feeling the joy of friendship filling their hearts. After the game, they sat down to enjoy some delicious orange slices. "Sharing makes everything sweeter," said Owen, and Olivia smiled. Just then, a gentle breeze rustled the leaves, and they heard a soft voice. "You two are wonderful friends. Always share your adventures." It was the spirit of the grove, and they felt a warm glow inside. As the sun began to set, Olivia and Owen waved goodbye to their new friends, promising to return. They walked back home, hearts full of joy and laughter. "What an adventure!" Olivia exclaimed. "The Orange Grove is our secret place." And from that day on, they knew that friendship and sharing made every journey special. Lily's little friends. One sunny morning, Lily stepped into her garden and noticed something magical, tiny little friends peeking out from behind the flowers. There was Leela the ladybug, with shiny red wings, and Carl the caterpillar, who loved to wiggle and giggle. Lily smiled wide and said, "Hello, little friends. Would you like to play with me today?" The little friends nodded happily, ready for a day full of fun and adventures in the colorful garden. Lily and her friends decided to play hide-and-seek. Carl the caterpillar wriggled behind a tall sunflower, while Leela the ladybug fluttered her delicate wings and hid under a leaf. Lily laughed as she looked carefully, finding her tiny friends one by one. Then, a fluffy bunny named Benny hopped out from behind a bush, joining the happy group. Together, they all giggled and ran around, making the garden sparkle with their joy. After their game, the friends sat under the big oak tree for a tiny picnic. Lily shared her apple slices, and Benny nibbled on some soft clover leaves. Leela told stories about flying high in the sky, and Carl dreamed of becoming a beautiful butterfly one day. The sun painted golden light all around as the friends felt happy and safe together, knowing that every day in the garden held a new adventure waiting just for them. The brave little Kestrel's hunt. Once upon a time, high in the blue sky, lived a brave little Kestrel named Kiki. Kiki loved to soar and swoop through the air, feeling the wind ruffle her feathers. One sunny morning, she woke up with a growling tummy. "Today is the day I will find my first meal," she chirped excitedly. Off she flew, gliding over the sparkling stream and the blooming meadow below. As Kiki soared, she spotted her friend Oliver the wise old owl resting on a tree branch. "Good morning, Kiki. What are you up to?" asked Oliver, his big round eyes sparkling. "I'm on a hunt for my first meal," Kiki replied. "Can you help me?" Oliver thought for a moment and said, "Look for the little critters hiding in the grass. They might be just what you need." With Oliver's advice in her heart, Kiki spotted a flash of movement below. It was Sammy the squirrel. "Hey, Sammy," she called out. "Have you seen any tasty treats around here?" Sammy grinned and pointed with his tiny paw. "The grass is full of crunchy bugs. You just have to look closely." Kiki thanked her friend and flew lower, her eyes scanning the grass. Kiki focused her gaze and spotted a tiny bug hopping in the grass. "There you are," she chirped and swooped down with excitement. With a quick flap of her wings, Kiki caught the bug. She couldn't believe it. She had found her first meal. "Hooray!" she cried, soaring up into the sky. Kiki felt proud and brave, ready for more adventures ahead. The Confetti of Celebration. One sunny morning in the colorful forest, little Binky, the bunny, hopped along the soft green grass when something shiny caught his eye. There, sparkling in the sunlight, was a handful of magical confetti that twinkled with every color of the rainbow. Curious and excited, Binky picked up the confetti and noticed it shimmered even more in his paw. He wondered what made this confetti so special and decided to share it with his friends to see what would happen. Binky hopped over to his friend Squeaky the squirrel, holding out the magical confetti. As Squeaky caught a handful and tossed it into the air, the confetti burst into shimmering sparkles that floated and danced all around them. Squeaky giggled as the sparkles tickled his nose and made tiny, happy sounds. Soon, the bluebird joined in, fluttering through the sparkling confetti, making it swirl like a magical rainbow in the sky. Everyone was amazed and giggling with delight. Next, Binky and his friends gathered all the animals in the forest, the fox, the deer, and even shy little mice. Together, they threw handfuls of the magical confetti into the air, and with every toss, the forest filled with sparkling colors and happy laughter. The confetti made everyone feel warm and cheerful, as if the whole forest was celebrating a special day just for them. Binky smiled, knowing that the magic wasn't just in the confetti, but in sharing happiness with friends. The whole body of wonder. One sunny morning, Mia woke up feeling curious. She looked at her hands and wiggled her fingers. "Wow," she giggled. "My fingers can dance and play." Then she looked down at her feet and gave them a little wiggle too. "My feet can jump and run." Mia laughed as she imagined her whole body moving like a joyful band of tiny dancers, each part doing its own special trick. Mia's tummy rumbled softly and she smiled. "My tummy talks to me when I'm hungry," she said. She put her hand on her tummy and whispered, "Hello, tummy." Suddenly, her tummy made a funny little song that made her giggle. Then she held her chest and felt her heart beating fast. "My heart is like a little drum, thumping a happy beat just for me," said Mia, dancing around the room with excitement. Next, Mia touched her head and felt her brain thinking. "My brain is like a clever wizard making magic with ideas," she whispered. She imagined her brain wearing a tiny wizard hat, casting sparkly spells of imagination. "And my eyes," Mia said, blinking bright. "They see colors, shapes, and all the wonders around me." She pointed at a butterfly outside the window, smiling wide at the beautiful world her eyes could discover. Mia took a deep breath and felt the air fill her lungs. "My lungs are like big balloons, helping me breathe in fresh air and blow out silly bubbles," she laughed. Then she clapped her hands and said, "Each part of me is a little wonder, working together to help me play, laugh, and grow every day." Mia twirled around happily, feeling like the whole body of wonder she truly was. The Sweet Surprises of Sally and Sam. One sunny morning, Sally and Sam, two playful squirrels, found a hidden door beneath a big oak tree. With a little push, the door creaked open, revealing a magical garden filled with colorful flowers that smelled like candy. Sally's eyes sparkled as she reached out to touch a bright pink flower that tasted like strawberry lollipops. Sam giggled as he nibbled on a blue flower that tasted like blueberry cupcakes. They couldn't believe their sweet surprise. As they wandered deeper, Sally and Sam discovered a sparkling stream where the water tasted like fizzy lemonade. They drank happily, feeling the bubbles tickle their noses. Around the stream, candy cane trees stood tall, their red and white stripes shining in the sunlight. Sally picked a candy cane and twirled it in her paws, while Sam found a chocolate rock to nibble on. Every step brought a new sweet surprise that made their adventure even more magical. Suddenly, a gentle breeze blew petals from a giant cupcake flower, and they floated down like soft, sweet snowflakes. Sally caught a petal and shared it with Sam. They laughed as the petals melted like tiny drops of honey in their mouths. Feeling full of happiness, they sat under a rainbow tree that shimmered with every color. Sally whispered, "The sweetest surprise isn't just the candy, but sharing it with a friend." Sam nodded, his eyes twinkling with joy. Together, they knew the magic was in their friendship. The Symphony of Sharing. In a bright, green forest, 5 animal friends loved to play music. Rabbit tapped his drum with a happy beat, Owl blew soft notes on his flute, Squirrel shook her maracas with a joyful rattle, Deer gently bowed her violin strings, and Bird sang sweet tunes through his shiny trumpet. But sometimes, they all played their music separately, and the forest felt quiet instead of lively. One day, Rabbit had a bright idea. "Why don't we play our music together?" he said with a big smile. Owl nodded and said, "Yes, when we share our sounds, it might sound even better." Squirrel clapped her paws excitedly. Deer and Bird agreed too, ready to join the new musical adventure. They started to play together. Rabbit's drum beat the rhythm, Owl's flute added soft tunes, Squirrel's maracas filled the air with jingles, Deer's violin sang sweet melodies, and Bird's trumpet brightened the song. The sounds mixed and swirled like magic, creating a beautiful symphony that made the whole forest dance and smile. After the music stopped, the friends looked at each other, feeling happy and proud. "Sharing our music made it more beautiful," said Deer softly. "And sharing makes everything better," added Bird with a bright chirp. From that day on, the friends played their symphony every afternoon, filling the forest with sounds of friendship and joy. The Schoolyard of Wonder. Every day, Lulu went to the Schoolyard of Wonder, where nothing was quite like a normal playground. The trees whispered secrets, and the flowers danced when the wind sang. Lulu loved to run under the giggling branches, feeling the soft grass tickle her toes, and looking up at the sky painted with fluffy clouds shaped like friendly animals. Her eyes sparkled with excitement because she never knew which magical surprise awaited her next. One sunny morning, Lulu noticed a new path she hadn't seen before. It was lined with tiny glowing stones that twinkled like stars. Curious, she stepped onto the path and followed it until she reached a shimmering rainbow slide twisting down from the tallest tree. "Wow!" Lulu gasped, her heart pounding with excitement. She climbed up carefully and whooshed down with a happy scream, landing softly in a pile of fluffy leaves that smelled like sweet candy. After her thrilling slide, Lulu met a tiny bunny wearing glasses and a little backpack. "Hello," said the bunny in a soft voice. "I'm Benny, the schoolyard guide. Would you like to see the secret garden?" Lulu nodded eagerly, and Benny hopped ahead, leading her through a gate made of twinkling vines. Inside, the flowers sang lullabies, and the trees grew sparkling fruits that tasted like sunshine and giggles. Lulu picked a glowing apple and took a big bite, feeling happiness bubble inside her like a sparkling fountain. As the day ended, Lulu sat on a soft mushroom seat, watching the sun paint the sky in pink and orange. She felt her heart full of wonder and joy. The Schoolyard of Wonder wasn't just a place to play. It was a world where dreams came alive and every moment was a new adventure. Lulu knew she'd come back tomorrow to find even more magic hiding in the leaves, the flowers, and the laughter all around her. Spring is here with Lily and Leah. One sunny morning, Lily the bunny woke up with a big stretch. "Hooray, spring is here," she squeaked, hopping out of her cozy burrow. She dashed to find her best friend, Leo the little bear. "Leo, come see all the beautiful flowers." Leo lumbered over, his eyes sparkling. "Wow, Lily, look at all the colors," he exclaimed. The meadow was a rainbow of tulips, daisies, and daisies dancing in the gentle breeze. The two friends laughed as they rolled in the grass, feeling the warm sun on their fur. Suddenly, a flurry of butterflies fluttered by. "Look, Leo, they want to play," shouted Lily. The butterflies danced around them, and the two friends tried to catch them. They giggled and twirled as the butterflies led them on a merry chase across the meadow. At the end of their adventure, Lily and Leo flopped down on the soft grass, tired but happy. "Spring is the best," said Leo, panting. "Yes, I love playing with you, Leo," replied Lily. Together, they watched the butterflies as they danced in the sunset, knowing this was just the beginning of their springtime fun. The Happy Teacher of Harry and Hannah. In a bright little classroom, there was a happy teacher who loved to smile every day. Her name was Miss Joy, and she taught two curious children named Harry and Hannah. Every morning, when the sun tickled the windows, Miss Joy would greet them with a big, warm hug. Harry and Hannah loved their teacher because she made learning feel like a magical adventure filled with colors, songs, and laughter. One day, Miss Joy brought out a big box full of colorful paints and brushes. "Let's paint the happiest picture ever," she said with a twinkle in her eye. Harry dipped his brush into blue paint and made swirly waves, while Hannah picked bright yellow to paint shining sunshine. Together, they made a picture full of rainbows, flowers, and smiling faces. Miss Joy clapped her hands happily, saying, "Look, you have painted happiness." Miss Joy loved to sing silly songs too. She taught Harry and Hannah a song about jumping frogs and dancing butterflies. As they sang, the classroom filled with giggles and wiggles. Harry jumped like a frog, and Hannah fluttered her hands like a butterfly. Miss Joy's happy voice made their hearts bounce with joy, and soon even the classroom plants seemed to smile along with them. When it was time to share, Miss Joy showed Harry and Hannah how giving makes everyone happy. They passed around a basket of shiny, red apples and took turns saying thank you. Harry gave Hannah a gentle smile, and Hannah shared a funny story that made them all laugh. Miss Joy said, "Sharing your smile and kindness is the best lesson of all." At the end of the day, Miss Joy tucked Harry and Hannah's dreams into a big, soft cloud of kindness and fun. She whispered, "Tomorrow, we will discover even more magic together." Harry and Hannah hugged their happy teacher tightly and skipped out of the classroom, ready for another bright day filled with smiles, songs, and wonderful adventures. The Star of Courage. In a little village surrounded by soft, twinkling hills lived a small kitten named Luna. Luna was curious and kind, but sometimes she felt a little scared when the night came. One evening, as the stars began to sparkle in the dark sky, Luna noticed a star shining brighter than all the others. It twinkled just for her. "That must be the Star of Courage," she whispered, feeling a flutter of excitement in her heart. Luna decided to follow the glowing star. As she tiptoed through the soft grass, she met a wise old owl perched on a tree branch. "Hello, Luna," the owl hooted softly. "The Star of Courage shines for those who believe in themselves. Keep going, little one." Feeling braver already, Luna thanked the owl and continued her journey, her paws light and her heart full of hope. Next, Luna met a gentle rabbit hopping beside a sparkling stream. "Don't be afraid to try new things," the rabbit said with a smile. "Courage grows when you keep moving forward." Luna nodded and took a deep breath. She crossed the little stream, feeling stronger with each step. The glowing star twinkled above, lighting her way like a magical friend. Suddenly, tiny lights began to dance all around Luna. Fireflies flickered like tiny stars, lighting up the dark night. "We're here to help you shine," they whispered. Luna giggled as the fireflies circled her, making her feel warm and brave inside. With a happy heart, she looked up once more, and the Star of Courage blazed even brighter, like a big, glowing hug just for her. Luna realized that courage wasn't about never feeling scared. It was about believing in herself and trying new things, even when the night felt dark. With a happy purr, she looked up at the shining star one last time. Together, they sparkled in the sky, reminding everyone that courage lives in every heart, big or small. The Friendly Dragon's Den. Deep inside a bright and beautiful forest, there lived a little dragon named Dazzle. Dazzle wasn't like other dragons. She was gentle and loved making friends. Her den was cozy, filled with soft pillows, shiny stones, and twinkling lights that made it sparkle like a treasure chest. Every day, Dazzle waited excitedly for visitors, curious children from the nearby village who loved to hear her stories and play games with her. The forest was alive with laughter and magic whenever they were together. One sunny morning, 3 children named Mia, Leo, and Sam tiptoed through the forest, excited to visit Dazzle. They giggled as they found the dragon's den glowing softly between the trees. Dazzle greeted them with a gentle smile and a flutter of her sparkling wings. She invited them inside to share a magical story about a flying star that loved to dance in the night sky. The children snuggled on the soft pillows, their eyes wide with wonder as Dazzle's gentle voice painted pictures of twinkling lights and dreamy skies. After the story, Dazzle and the children decided to play a special game of dragon tag, where everyone pretended to breathe gentle sparkles instead of fire. They laughed and ran around the den, their sparkles twinkling like tiny stars in the air. When they grew tired, they sat together outside, watching fluffy clouds float by and making up stories about the shapes they saw. Dazzle told them that in her den, imagination was the most magical treasure of all. The children smiled, feeling happy and safe in their new dragon friend's cozy home. Playing together with Paula and Peter. One sunny morning, Paula and Peter met in their bright backyard. Paula brought her red ball and Peter carried a small wooden kite. They smiled at each other, ready for a day full of fun. The grass was soft and green, and colorful flowers swayed gently in the breeze. "Let's play together," said Paula happily. Peter nodded, and they imagined their backyard turning into a magical land where anything could happen. First, they decided to play catch with the red ball. Paula threw the ball high into the sky, and Peter caught it with a big smile. They laughed and took turns throwing and catching, their giggles mixing with the birds' songs. Suddenly, Paula pointed to the kite and said, "Let's fly it." Peter nodded excitedly. Together, they ran across the grass, feeling the wind lift the kite higher and higher until it danced with the clouds. After flying the kite, Paula and Peter sat down in the sandbox. They built a tall, wobbly castle using colorful buckets and spades. Paula added a little flag on top, and Peter made a moat around the castle with imaginary water. "Look, our castle is strong and magical," said Paula. Peter agreed, imagining tiny knights guarding their creation. They played quietly, proud of their teamwork and the happy world they'd built together. As the sun began to set, Paula and Peter climbed onto the wooden swing hanging from the tree. They swung gently back and forth, feeling the cool evening breeze. "Today was the best day ever," said Peter. Paula smiled and said, "Playing together makes everything more fun." They looked at the pink sky and dreamed of tomorrow's adventures, knowing they would always have each other to play with. The friendly piglet's Oink. In a sunny meadow where the grass tickled his tiny feet, Pippin the piglet woke up with a big happy oink. His oink was special. It wasn't loud or scary, but warm and friendly, like a cozy hug. As the morning sun shined bright, Pippin trotted out to explore, eager to share his joyful oink with the world. The flowers swayed and the butterflies danced as the friendly piglet's oink echoed softly through the meadow. As Pippin wandered along a winding path, he met Bella the bunny, who was nibbling on a bright orange carrot. When Pippin gave his friendly oink, Bella's ears perked up and she smiled wide. "What a happy sound," she said. Together, they hopped and oinked, making music with their voices. Soon, a little duckling named Daisy waddled over, quacking a cheerful tune to join their new song. The meadow felt alive with laughter and melody. With every friendly oink, Pippin's happiness grew bigger and brighter. He and his friends played hide-and-seek behind blooming bushes and chased butterflies that twinkled like little stars. When the sun began to dip low, the animals gathered under a big tree, sharing stories and soft oinks, quacks, and hops. Pippin felt proud that his simple oink had brought so much fun and friendship to the meadow. The little falcon's dive. High up on a tall, rocky cliff lived a little falcon named Flicker. Flicker was small but full of dreams. Every day, he watched the other birds swoop and glide through the sky, wishing he could join them. His feathers were soft and shiny, and his eyes sparkled with curiosity. But Flicker was a little scared of flying too far. Today, he decided it was time to be brave and try his very first big dive from the cliff. Flicker took a deep breath and spread his tiny wings wide. The wind tickled his feathers as he leaned forward a little more. His friends, the wise owl and the playful squirrel, called out, "You can do it, Flicker. The sky is waiting for you." Flicker's heart thumped fast, but he remembered how fun it would be to fly, to feel the breeze under his wings, and to see the world from way up high. Then, with a joyful chirp, Flicker pushed off the cliff and dove into the air. At first, his wings fluttered quickly, and he felt a fluttery tickle in his tummy. But soon, the wind caught him, lifting him up higher and higher. Flicker swooped and soared, spinning with delight. Below him, the trees, river, and happy animals looked like tiny toys. Flicker had never felt so free and brave before. When Flicker finally glided back to the cliff, all his friends cheered and clapped their paws and wings. Flicker felt proud and happy, knowing he had faced his fear and discovered something amazing. From that day on, the little Falcon wasn't just a dreamer. He was a flyer, ready for many more adventures in the wide, wonderful sky. The Throwing Trio of Timmy and Tina. One sunny morning, Timmy and Tina found 3 special balls in their backyard. The first ball was sparkly blue and glowed softly in their hands. The second was bright red and bounced higher than any ball they had ever seen. The third was sunny yellow and had tiny wings that fluttered gently. Excited, they decided to name themselves the Throwing Trio and began to play together with their magical new friends. Timmy threw the red ball, and it bounced so high it almost touched the clouds. Tina giggled as she caught the glowing blue ball, which shone brighter every time she hugged it. Then, the yellow ball fluttered its wings and flew all around the garden, making happy buzzing sounds. The backyard was filled with laughter as the Throwing Trio played their new game, taking turns throwing, catching, and chasing the magical balls. Suddenly, the yellow ball flew toward a tall tree and got stuck on a branch. Timmy and Tina looked up with wide eyes. They worked together, making a little tower with cushions and stepping carefully until Tina reached up and caught the yellow ball. The Throwing Trio cheered. Teamwork made their fun even better. From that day on, Timmy, Tina, and their magical balls played happily every day, imagining new adventures and sharing giggles under the warm sun. The brave little Frigatebirds sail. Once upon a time, in a sunny seaside village, there lived a brave little Frigatebird named Freddie. Freddie loved to soar high in the sky and dream of adventures across the sparkling sea. Every day, he watched the big birds sailing gracefully above the waves, their wings gliding with ease. "One day, I will sail just like them," Freddie chirped excitedly. One bright morning, Freddie decided today was the day. He flapped his wings and took off into the sky. The wind rushed through his feathers as he soared higher and higher. But suddenly, dark clouds rolled in and the wind howled ominously. Freddie felt a shiver of fear. "What if I can't sail through the storm?" he thought. Just then, Freddie remembered his friends below. The cheerful dolphins leaped out of the water, calling out, "You can do it, Freddie. Trust your wings." The friendly sea turtle swam alongside, cheering him on. "You are braver than you think." Freddie took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of his friend's encouragement. With a burst of courage, Freddie flapped his wings and sailed into the storm. The wind whooshed around him, but he remembered his friends' cheers. He soared above the clouds, and when he emerged, the sun sparkled like diamonds on the sea below. Freddie had sailed through the storm, and he felt like a hero. From that day on, Freddie knew he could face any challenge, as long as he believed in himself and had his friends by his side. And so, the brave little Frigatebird continued to sail across the sparkling sea, discovering new adventures every day. "The sky is the limit," he chirped, flying high with a heart full of joy. The family road trip of Rosie and Ryan. One sunny morning, Rosie and Ryan jumped into their family car, ready for a big road trip. "Where are we going?" Rosie asked, her eyes shining with excitement. "To the magic forest," Ryan replied, holding a map. They packed their favorite snacks and waved goodbye to their house, the adventure ahead making them giggle. As they drove along, they passed fields of flowers dancing in the breeze and tall trees whispering secrets. Suddenly, a friendly rabbit hopped alongside their car. "Hello, Rosie and Ryan," said the rabbit. "Would you like to play?" The siblings laughed and cheered. "Yes." The rabbit led them to a sunny meadow where a picnic party was happening. Animals of all kinds were gathered: squirrels, birds, and even a wise old turtle. They shared sandwiches, grapes, and cookies. Rosie and Ryan laughed as they played games and danced with their new furry friends. After a day full of laughter and fun, it was time to head home. Rosie and Ryan waved goodbye to their new friends, promising to return. As they drove back, they shared stories of their adventure, feeling happy and loved. "Best road trip ever," they shouted together, dreaming of the next one. The Violet Voyage of Violet and Victor. One sunny morning, Violet the purple cat and Victor the gray mouse climbed aboard their shiny violet boat. The boat sparkled under the soft lavender sky, ready to sail on the sparkling purple sea. Violet stretched her paws and looked to Victor with a big smile. "Are you ready for our violet voyage?" she asked. Victor nodded eagerly, his tiny red scarf fluttering in the gentle breeze. Together, they set sail, their hearts full of wonder and excitement for the adventure ahead. As the boat glided over the purple waves, Violet spotted a school of glittering fish swimming alongside. They shimmered like tiny stars in the water. Victor waved happily, and a friendly fish leapt out, splashing a little water around. "Hello, friends," Violet called, and the fish twirled in circles, inviting them to follow. Violet and Victor giggled and steered their boat to play with the new friends, dipping their paws and tails into the cool, violet sea. Suddenly, a shimmering purple turtle popped its head out of the water near their boat. "Welcome, travelers," the turtle said with a warm smile. "If you want to find the treasure of kindness, you must help me solve a riddle." Violet's eyes sparkled with curiosity, and Victor nodded eagerly. The turtle asked, "What grows bigger the more you share?" Violet and Victor thought hard. Then Violet exclaimed, "It's kindness." The turtle beamed, "You are right. Kindness makes the world brighter." Feeling proud and happy, Violet and Victor continued their voyage, sharing kind words and smiles with every new friend they met. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in soft violet and pink hues, their boat softly rocked on the gentle waves. Together, they realized that the greatest treasure of all was the kindness they shared and the joy of exploring the violet sea side by side. With a happy sigh, Violet purred, "This has been the best Violet voyage ever." The Friendly Grasshopper's Leap. In a bright, sunny meadow filled with colorful flowers and buzzing bees lived Gilly the grasshopper. Gilly was not just any grasshopper, he was the friendliest and most cheerful grasshopper around. Every morning, he would hop from leaf to leaf, singing happy songs and making all the meadow animals smile. One day, Gilly decided he wanted to show his friends how high he could leap. "Watch me jump," he said with a big grin, ready to take a very big leap into the air. Gilly crouched down, wiggled his long legs, and pushed off with all his might. Up, up, up he soared, higher than any grasshopper in the meadow had ever jumped before. The butterflies fluttered their wings in surprise, and the ladybugs cheered softly from their leaves. But something magical happened. When Gilly landed on a tall flower, the petals gently lifted him, and suddenly he was floating up, up, and away like a little green balloon in the sky. As Gilly floated higher, he could see all his friends waving from the meadow below. The bumblebee buzzed happily, the snail smiled slowly, and even the shy little ants stopped to watch. Gilly laughed, feeling light and free, and called out, "Come join me." One by one, the animals imagined themselves floating too, and soon the whole meadow was filled with happy creatures hopping, flying, and floating together in joy. It was the most wonderful leap ever. When the sun began to set, Gilly gently floated back down and landed softly on a patch of soft grass. All his friends gathered around and clapped their paws, wings, and tiny feet. "That was the most amazing leap, Gilly," they cheered. Gilly smiled, feeling warm and happy inside. "With a little courage and a lot of friendship," he said, "we can all leap higher than we ever dreamed." And from that day on, the meadow was filled with laughter, leaps, and the magic of friendship. The Delicious Day of Diego and Diana. Once upon a time, in a land where candy trees grew and chocolate rivers flowed, lived two siblings named Diego and Diana. They woke up one sunny morning, their tummies rumbling with excitement. "Today is a delicious day," shouted Diego, and Diana danced around the room, clapping her hands. They decided to explore their magical world, where every step was a new adventure filled with yummy treats. As they ventured outside, they discovered candy clouds floating in the sky. "Can we jump on them?" Diana asked with wide eyes. They bounced on the candy clouds, giggling as they leaped from one fluffy treat to another. With each jump, they soared higher and higher, tasting the sweet, sugary fluff. "This is the best day ever," Diego exclaimed, his face covered in sticky sweetness. Next, they stumbled upon a chocolate river. Look, Diana pointed excitedly. They dipped their fingers into the river and tasted the rich chocolate. It's so good. Together, they made chocolate boats out of leaves and floated them down the river, laughing as they raced them against each other. They shared their chocolate treasures and promised to always share their treats. As the sun began to set, they found a giant cupcake hill. They climbed to the top and spotted a rainbow of candies waiting below. Diego and Diana shared the candies with their friends, who joined them for a sweet picnic under the candy trees. They laughed, played, and enjoyed the delicious treats together, knowing that the best part of the day was sharing it with friends. The Lunchbox of Laughter. Mia was a cheerful little girl who loved lunchtime at preschool. One sunny morning, she opened her new lunchbox and found something very special inside. It wasn't just any lunchbox, it was the Lunchbox of Laughter. Whenever Mia opened it, the food inside made funny sounds and tickled her tummy with giggles. Today, as she opened her lunchbox, a little sandwich popped out and said, "Hello, Mia. Ready for a day full of fun?" Mia laughed so hard, she almost spilled her juice. As Mia shared her magical lunchbox treats, the giggles started to spread. Her best friend, Leo, heard the funny sounds and came over to see what was happening. When he opened his own lunchbox, a bouncing apple rolled out, laughing and singing silly songs. Soon, all the children at preschool were opening their lunchboxes and joining the laughter party. Even the teachers couldn't stop smiling as the playground filled with happy sounds and joyful dances. At the very end of the day, Mia's lunchbox gave one last surprise: a tiny, giggling cupcake that flew up and sprinkled sparkling sugar all around. Everyone's laughter echoed like music, and Mia felt her heart glow with happiness. She knew the Lunchbox of Laughter wasn't just about food. It was about sharing joy and making friends. With a big smile, Mia closed her magical lunchbox, ready to bring laughter again tomorrow. The Journey of Harry and Hannah. One sunny morning, Harry the little hedgehog woke up feeling extra curious. His best friend, Hannah the bright blue bird, chirped happily beside him. "Let's go on an adventure," Hannah said with a flutter of her wings. So off they went, stepping carefully through the soft moss and crunchy leaves of the whispering woods. The trees seemed to sway and hum as if welcoming their brave explorers. Harry and Hannah giggled, excited to see what magical things they might find. As they wandered deeper, they spotted a sparkling stream that twinkled like 1,000 tiny stars. Harry dipped his paw in the cool water while Hannah sang a happy tune. Around the stream, colorful flowers giggled and wiggled their petals when the breeze tickled them. Harry and Hannah laughed and danced with the flowers, feeling the joy of the forest's magic all around them. They knew this was only the start of their wonderful journey. Suddenly, Hannah spotted something amazing: a shining rainbow bridge stretching from one side of the forest to the other. "Look, Harry, let's cross it," she chirped excitedly. Together, they stepped onto the glowing bridge, feeling it shimmer beneath their feet. As they reached the middle, a treasure chest appeared, sparkling with all the colors of the rainbow. Inside, they found friendship bracelets made of twinkling leaves and tiny stars, a special gift to remind them of their magical journey forever. The joyful little journey. One sunny morning, Lily the little ladybug woke up feeling very excited. Today was the day for her joyful little journey. She flapped her tiny red wings and set off down the winding garden path. The flowers nodded hello, and the warm sun smiled down as Lily passed by. She couldn't wait to see what wonderful surprises the garden might hold for her today. As Lily fluttered along, she met Benny the blue butterfly who was sipping nectar from a bright yellow daisy. "Hello, Lily," Benny said with a sparkle in his wings. "Would you like to come with me to the sparkling pond?" Lily nodded happily, and together they flew toward the shiny water, their wings twinkling in the sunlight. At the sparkling pond, Lily and Benny met Bella the buzzing bee, who was busy gathering pollen. "Welcome, friends," buzzed Bella. She showed them a secret spot where tiny rainbow-colored pebbles shimmered among the reeds. Lily's eyes grew wide with wonder as she picked up a tiny, shiny pebble and smiled. It was a treasure from their joyful little journey. Just then, a soft rustling caught their attention. A little green caterpillar named Carl crawled out from behind a leaf. "Hello, everyone," he said with a shy smile. Lily invited Carl to join their adventure, and the four friends happily continued down the garden path together, sharing stories and laughter as the sun began to set in warm orange hues. As twilight painted the sky with soft purples and pinks, the friends reached a cozy flower nook where fireflies danced like tiny stars. Lily looked around at her new friends and the beautiful garden, feeling her heart fill with happiness. "Our joyful little journey was the best adventure ever," she said softly. And with that, they all snuggled close, ready to dream of many more joyful days to come. The Little Cloud of Wonder. High up in the bright blue sky, there was a tiny cloud named Wisp. Wisp was the smallest cloud anyone had ever seen, but what made Wisp special was its big heart full of wonder. Wisp loved floating slowly over the world, watching children laugh, birds sing, and flowers bloom. Every day, Wisp wondered what fun it could bring to the people and animals down below. One sunny morning, Wisp decided to play a special game. It floated down closer to the village and softly sprinkled tiny raindrops on the thirsty flowers. The flowers stretched and smiled, their petals shining with bright colors. The children looked up and cheered, happy to see the little cloud sharing its gentle rain. Wisp felt warm and proud, knowing it made the day even better. As the day went on, Wisp drifted slowly, casting a soft, cool shade over the playground where the children played tag. The children laughed and ran, feeling the cloud's gentle shadow protecting them from the warm sun. Nearby, rabbits hopped happily in the grass and birds sang sweet songs. Wisp loved seeing all the smiles and felt like the happiest little cloud in the sky. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with pink and orange, Wisp gathered all its wonder and magic. It turned into a fluffy, glowing shape that looked like a big heart. The children and animals looked up in amazement, waving goodnight to their little cloud friend. Wisp felt happy and knew that even though it was small, it could bring big smiles and wonder to everyone below. The Pencil Pals of Paula and Peter. Once upon a time, in a cozy little room, lived two best friends named Paula and Peter. They loved to draw and color together. One sunny afternoon, they gathered all their crayons and colored pencils, ready to create something magical. "Let's draw our own pencil pals," said Paula with a twinkle in her eye. Peter nodded excitedly, and they both started doodling away, their imaginations dancing like butterflies in the air. As they finished their drawings, something amazing happened. The crayons began to shimmer and shake, and out popped their pencil pals. There was a friendly dragon with sparkling scales, a bouncy elephant with colorful ears, and a playful frog that hopped around giggling. "Hooray!" shouted Peter. "Let's go on an adventure." The pencil pals cheered, and together they all jumped into the drawings, landing in a world filled with candy mountains and rainbow rivers. In this magical land, they played hide and seek behind the candy trees and splashed in the rainbow river. The dragon flew high above, the elephant trumpeted happily, and the frog made funny faces that made everyone laugh. Paula and Peter felt so lucky to have such wonderful friends. They danced and sang, creating their own joyful tunes. But soon, it was time to return home. "We'll be back," promised Paula, waving goodbye to their new pals. Back in their cozy room, Paula and Peter looked at their drawings. "What an adventure," said Peter with a big smile. "Let's draw more tomorrow." Paula nodded, her eyes shining with dreams of new pencil pals. And so, they promised to create more amazing adventures together, because with a little imagination, every day could be magical. And who knows, maybe their pencil pals would come back again. Benny's Big Adventure. Once upon a time, in a cozy little burrow, there lived a curious bunny named Benny. Benny loved to hop around the meadow, exploring and asking questions. One sunny morning, he heard a whisper about magical rainbow berries hidden deep in the enchanted forest. Benny's eyes sparkled with excitement. "I must find those berries," he said, hopping with joy. Benny took a deep breath and bounded into the forest. The trees were tall and the leaves shimmered like jewels. As he hopped along, he met Ollie the wise owl perched on a branch. "Where are you going, little bunny?" Ollie asked. "I'm off to find the magical rainbow berries," Benny replied. "You'll need courage, my friend," said Ollie, flapping his wings wisely. Benny thanked Ollie and continued on his journey. Soon, he met Sammy the squirrel, who was busy gathering acorns. "Hi, Benny. What's your adventure today?" asked Sammy. "I'm searching for rainbow berries," Benny exclaimed. Sammy giggled. "Let's go together. Friends make adventures even better." So they hopped off together, laughing and playing. After a while, they reached a sparkling stream where they spotted Daisy the deer drinking water. "Hello, Benny and Sammy. What brings you here?" Daisy asked. "We're on a quest for magical rainbow berries," they shouted in unison. Daisy smiled. "I'll join you. I know the way." With their hearts full of excitement, the three friends hopped along the stream. Finally, they arrived at a beautiful glade filled with vibrant colors. There, under a giant rainbow tree, were the magical rainbow berries. They glimmered and sparkled like the stars. "We found them!" Benny cheered. The friends danced around the tree, sharing laughter and joy. Together, they picked the berries, knowing this adventure would be a memory to treasure forever. The bubble of fun. One sunny morning, Mia found a tiny bubble wand by the garden. She dipped it into a magical bottle of bubble juice and blew gently. Out came a little bubble that shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow. Mia giggled as the bubble floated up, and up, tickling the leaves as it danced in the breeze. Suddenly, the bubble grew bigger and bigger. It was not just any bubble, it was the bubble of fun. Mia climbed on top, and the bubble lifted her softly off the ground. Up they floated, passing fluffy clouds shaped like friendly animals. Mia laughed as she waved to a cloud shaped like a smiling bunny. The bubble of fun took Mia on a magical ride across the sky. They swooshed past colorful rainbows and sparkling stars that twinkled even in the daylight. The bubble sang silly bubble songs that made Mia giggle and clap her hands. Every pop and sparkle was like a tiny surprise just for her. After a while, the bubble of fun gently floated back down to the garden. Mia stepped off with a big smile and a heart full of happy memories. She waved goodbye to her bubbly friend, knowing that whenever she wanted, she could blow bubbles and find new adventures waiting to float her away. The happy grasshopper sparrow's chirp. In a sunny meadow, there lived a happy little grasshopper sparrow named Chirpy. Chirpy loved to sing the sweetest chirps that made all the flowers dance and the butterflies flutter with joy. Every morning, Chirpy would hop from leaf to leaf, singing his cheerful song to wake up the sleepy world. One bright day, Chirpy woke up and tried to sing, but oh no, his special chirp was missing. Worried but hopeful, Chirpy decided to go on an adventure to find his chirp again. As Chirpy hopped through the meadow, he met a friendly bunny named Binky. Binky had big, soft ears and loved to listen to songs. Chirpy told Binky about his missing chirp, and Binky smiled, saying, "Let's find it together." They bounced along the soft grass, asking the buzzing bees and the twinkling fireflies if they had seen Chirpy's chirp. Everyone shook their heads but cheered Chirpy on, making him feel braver with every step. Suddenly, a colorful butterfly named Bella fluttered by, singing a sweet tune. Chirpy felt a tickle in his throat and tried to chirp along, but still, his special sound was missing. Bella smiled and said, "Sometimes, your chirp is not just in your beak, but in the happiness you share." Chirpy thought about all the smiles and laughter he had given to his friends. Then, with a joyful heart, he chirped a little tune, soft but full of happiness. To Chirpy's surprise, his little chirp grew louder and brighter. The flowers swayed happily, the butterflies danced, and even the shy ladybugs joined in the celebration. Chirpy realized that his chirp had never really left. It was inside him all along, growing stronger whenever he shared joy with his friends. From that day on, Chirpy chirped happily every morning, filling the meadow with music and smiles, knowing the best chirp is the one that comes from the heart.